Hi, my name is Jill Engel, and I'm the Executive Director for the Partnership of the Arts and Humanities. I'm here today to tell you a story about the Village Arts Factory. Sitting almost in the shadow of Detroit, at the far western edge of Wayne County, is Cherry Hill, one of Canton Township's historic villages. This is a location where you will find Henry Ford's final village industry and a large industrial warehouse on 14 acres. In 2012, the Partnership for Arts and Humanities came up with an idea to transform this unique National Historic Landmark into a place that would continue to make a significant and meaningful contribution as Henry Ford intended over 70 years ago. This place is now called the Village Arts Factory. Let's start from the beginning and tell you who we are. In April 1996, Canton Township began investigating the need for a performing arts center. A recommendation was made to create a 501c3 supporting organization. That group is called the Partnership for Arts and Humanities, otherwise known as the Partnership. The Partnership's initial efforts were centered on raising private funds for the construction of the Village Theater at Cherry Hill. The Partnership was successful in raising more than $5 million towards the construction and operation of the 400-seat Premier Center. Since the opening of the Village Theater in 2004, the Partnership has awarded grants totaling over $900,000 to 15 local theater groups, area schools, and Canton Township. How do we go from being a grant funding source to taking on a $3 million renovation project? The answer is a visionary named Tom Yack and a township called Canton. Tom Yack is a previous Canton Township supervisor of 20 years, and on the grand opening night of the Village Theater, he was already looking forward to the next project. As he sat in the audience, he leaned over and told one of his directors that they now needed to acquire the abandoned historic parcel just one block down the street. His proposal was to turn the property into a venue that was similar to the Torpedo Factory in Alexandria, Virginia, a warehouse with studios, gallery, boutique, and eateries. His plan would ultimately create an arts district, with the Village Theater and the Village Arts Factory being anchors of Cherry Hill Village, located just 8 miles west of the city limits of Detroit and 8 miles east of the city limits of Ann Arbor. You see, Canton is known as a community with forward-thinking leadership focused on the quality of life for its residents. Just ask current Canton Township Supervisor Pat Williams.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate the opportunity to put in my 2 cents on the Village Arts Factory. I'm looking forward to the completion of this project. I see the Village Arts Factory as an opportunity to put Canton on the map one more time. The Village Arts Factory is going to be a regional draw across many cultures for Canton Township residents, both internal as well as the regional, external folks to come in and participate in arts and culture in our community. I'm looking forward to it getting completed, and I hope each and every one of you out there today can contribute. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Pat. In August 2012, the Partnership Board decided as a group to expand our commitment further than the greater Canton community to include western Wayne and eastern Washtenaw counties. That was the summer that we actually purchased the 14-acre parcel in an auction. The parcel included the Cherry Hill Ford factory complex and a 45,000 square foot dilapidated industrial warehouse. My favorite part of this story is the history of the Cherry Hill Ford factory complex. This tranquil settlement was the site of Henry Ford's final, most unique, and least publicized village industry. He did not employ local farmers as in his other 18 village industries. Rather, he provided housing and employment opportunities for disabled World War II veterans. This 19th and final village industry had 2 buildings, a dormitory and a factory. Built in the early 1900s, the dormitory was originally a creamery in the village of Cherry Hill. Henry Ford purchased the Wilson Dairy building in 1943 and had it moved to its current location next to the factory that he was constructing. Ford then transformed the creamery into a residence hall for several workers at his Cherry Hill plant. The 2,500 square foot dormitory housed 18 to 22 veterans at one time. That's right, I said 18 to 22 men in a house that had 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a kitchen, a dining room, and a living room. The Ford factory began operations in July 1944 and served at least 2 purposes: to provide training and rehabilitation for returning war veterans, and to supply parts for the Willow Run bomber plant. The 2-story, 5,000 square foot concrete block building is where the veterans manufactured automobile parts, including radiator parts, ignition locks, keys, and the factory actually ceased production in 1945. The concept of this village industry and the employment of disabled veterans were to merge at the Cherry Hill plant. This combination did not occur elsewhere, since Cherry Hill was the last of these village plants. Ford left instructions: no publicity, no reporters, ever. He employed these veterans to help them, not to help his image with good press. He wanted the veterans to have the opportunity to rehabilitate in peace. Just ask Canton Township Historic District Commission Vice Chair, Melissa McLaughlin.
The project with the Village Arts Factory is such an important component for developing an epicenter for the arts in Canton Township and actually in western Metro Detroit. The Village Arts Factory area, the Henry Ford Village Factory, was the last factory that Henry Ford built, and he built it specifically for injured World War II veterans. Everything was top secret. And Henry Ford used to come every single day and visit and have breakfast with the veterans, and he had his own personal chef from Fairlane come out and provide their food for all 3 meals. Ford was a big advocate of local farming, and he would visit with the local farmers, Henry and Mary Hauk, and Grandma Hauk used to always complain that he always showed up at dinner time and would stay for supper. This project that the Partnership for the Arts is undertaking for the Village Arts Factory is really brings to a full circle, I think, the vision that Henry Ford had for this little factory on the ridge. It preserves the historic property. It's on the National Register of Historic Properties. It embraces and develops the arts programming for the area and the greater Metro Detroit area, as well as serving the veterans. And so if you think about what Henry Ford's original vision was for the little factory on Cherry Hill and Ridge Road back in the 1940s, to do what the Partnership for the Arts is trying to do today, preserving its history, developing the arts, and helping the veterans, it really is a full circle for Henry Ford's vision. And I think it's a wonderful project, and it's really worth supporting, so I hope you will. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. In 2013 and 2014, the partnership finalized the plans and created the name for the property, which was the Village Arts Factory. Village for location, arts for the purpose, and factory for its heritage. There were hundreds of conversations had. These conversations included classwork for students at Madonna University that assisted with business planning, marketing, production of a video that's actually still on our website, as well as Michigan State University students that thought up the programming for the dormitory, putting together arts and humanities, bringing Henry Ford's vision full circle. Our planning phase included environmental assessments, asbestos studies, wetland surveys, and much, much more, all completed by the Mannequin Smith Group. They have assisted us with the hiring and bidding of contractors, completing checklists, designing our parking, and were even the brainstorm behind the walking and bike trails on our 8 acres south of the buildings. This project would not be where it is today without them. Our preparations also included designing a logo and marketing materials. This process took almost 10 months for us to figure out how to pull together a piece that would reflect all the different arms of our project. This was a huge undertaking, and we are glad that we had driven a marketing firm from Ferndale that nailed that task. Brad Cambridge is our architect and was a member of the Canton Planning Commission when he started. He donated his time, his talent, and services for all the building designs and budgets. He is now actually a resident of Washington, D.C., but he is still working with us today. Last but not least, we also hosted our very first community volunteer cleanup, and we were thrilled to have over 100 people from 6 cities join us for an entire day. Then, finally, after 2 long years, we came up with a plan to execute. The Village Arts Factory would restore a national landmark. It would fill a public demand for visual arts, creating a regional hub where individuals of all ages and cultures could come and learn, experiment, grow through art-inspired education and entertainment. It would promote a welcoming atmosphere for professional artists, aspiring artists, students, general public, and even shoppers. And the partnership made a commitment to honor the historic roots of this property by establishing unique healing programs for local veterans. Next came 2015 and the turning point for the partnership, as we took our ideas on paper and turned them into action. That year, we raised the funding for the dormitory renovations, the site demolition, and additional construction preparations. This included asbestos abatement on the entire site, interior demolition in the dormitory and factory, removal of 12,000 square feet of warehouse that originally attached the factory to the warehouse, and roof stabilization on the warehouse. All of these tasks were completed by early 2016. Quinn Evans architect firm was hired to complete a historic structure report, which was a $42,000 comprehensive report to guide us in our rehabilitation steps. After pounding the pavement and sharing our vision, this was the year that our support really began. We received letters of support from state, county, and township officials, along with contributions from organizations and companies such as Motor City's National Heritage Area, the Jeffress Family Foundation, Pulte Homes, Pinnacle Homes, Sing Development, Masco Corporation Foundation, Mann's Lumber, Canton Township, and the Ford Fund, just to name a few. Just ask the president of the Ford Motor Company Fund, Jim Vella.
So the Ford Motor Company Fund is very happy to be supporting the Village Arts Factory program and the project for a couple of different reasons. One is obviously the leadership of the group. Jill Engel and her team are doing a great job, and what we look for in projects like this is we look for the passion, the dedication, the talent, and the vision, and I think that's all there in this project. But just as importantly, we look at the mission of the project, and obviously there's a great tie to Henry Ford and the Ford Motor Company and the work that Henry Ford did throughout the company, throughout his whole career, that we carry on at the Ford Motor Company Fund today. So this is a program where we're actually working with the project to help make people's lives better in the Canton community. Many of our residents live in Canton. So it's a project whether you're using a veteran that's going to use the facility, or an arts person who's going to use the facility, or maybe just a family that uses one of the riding trails. It's an opportunity for the community to come together, make people's lives better, and have a vision for a better future.
Thanks so much, Jim. In 2016, the partnership connected with Zero Day. They offer paid apprenticeship opportunities, life skill mentoring, and job placement to Michigan's veterans. Zero Day veterans removed all windows from the dormitory to refurbish at their Silver Star workshop in Battle Creek, then reinstalled once the work was completed. The best part was the smile on Shay's face the day that they reinstalled the windows. He was so proud. During a 2016 brainstorming session, one of our board members, Doug Manns, also came up with an idea of painting a mural on the side of the warehouse that faced Cherry Hill Road. This would serve as an advertisement while simultaneously increasing the curb appeal of this beaten down structure until we began construction. 6 students from the Plymouth Canton High School Art Club designed a 100-foot mural over the summer and then painted the outline. Ford Motor Company volunteers came out in September to paint in the mural with vibrant colors. This is just one of the many volunteer examples that we have experienced. 2016 was also another big year for the Village Arts Factory support. We received a capital improvement grant from the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, a preservation grant from the Motor Cities National Heritage Area, and another community grant from the Ford Motor Company Fund. Companies such as Iron Mountain, Reliable Carriers, the Pachoco family, Gilmar Manufacturing, Community Financial Credit Union, and many more got involved. Today, 2 years after creating our original plans, we have stayed true to our vision. The dormitory will offer proposed programs such as clinical, art and music therapy for local veterans and their families. Here, veterans, including those with post-traumatic stress disorder, will receive services to restore health and meaning. There will also be outdoor options such as gardening, landscaping, sculpture, and more. The Ford Factory is to become an arts education satellite. This education space will provide a variety of indoor and outdoor art instruction. Here, art courses and events will be offered in several classroom settings to students, including veterans and at-risk students. Most recently, there has been a discussion of teaching art therapy in this building and then utilizing this learning next door in the dormitory. The large industrial warehouse will be repurposed to provide studio space of all sizes, complemented by a food and beverage destination. The studios will be the home to a wide variety of public art, such as photography, pottery, painting, jewelry, woodworking, glass, fabrics, and many, many more. The warehouse will also house the brand new Michigan Visual Artists Hall of Fame Gallery, Black Box Performance Area, Art Boutique, as well as several other outdoor patios and sculpture gardens with historic and automotive artifacts throughout. The Village Arts Factory will support personal health and wellness with over 8 acres of bicycle paths, pedestrian trails, both connecting to a walkable community and neighboring county. This will also promote different methods of transportation to reach our location. In addition, the partnership is currently having discussions with regional environmental stewardship leaders to offer place-based learning options for kids K through 12 for many, many years to come. The Village Arts Factory will be a regional hub promoting and developing and encouraging the collaboration of art, humanities, and education. Why is this project so important to Southeast Michigan? Just ask 30-year-old veteran and state senator David Kniezek.
So when I talk about veterans coming home from overseas, I always think about my own personal experiences and the challenges that I faced trying to come home to a world that, for all intents and purposes, had left me behind. 4 years overseas or 4 years deployed, you don't know how to converse. You're having a difficult time transitioning back home into life in the United States. And all you have to do is look at the statistics surrounding returning veterans to know that we have a very serious problem when it comes to reintegration. Look at veteran homelessness. Look at the joblessness rate for veterans. Look at the suicide rate for returning veterans. And you realize that our government is coming up woefully short of the support that we need to be giving our returning veterans. And so, then enters the Village Arts Factory, an opportunity to take a veteran who's coming home or who has been home for a number of years and to help them successfully and healthily make that transition back into life in the United States. We cannot simply say thank you and consider our commitment to the veterans to be fulfilled. It's down and it's dirty and it's hands-on, and we have to be willing to roll up our sleeves and do the work that other people don't want to do. And that's why I'm so encouraged about this project, to know that we have an opportunity for veterans to come to receive hands-on and individualized support, whether it be art therapy or job training, you name it, an opportunity for their families to realize that sense of community, that same sense of community that they felt when they were in the military, an opportunity for volunteers who want to do right by our veterans each and every day to come and share their skill set and their passion for our military. This is a challenge that has been laid at all of our feet. The question is whether or not we are willing to pick up the ball and run with it. We have over 600,000 veterans here in Michigan. So many of those veterans, so many of their families are still in drastic need of support here today. And so if you're out there watching, if you're in the crowd, I want you to see this as a call to action. I want you to pause and ask yourself, what more could I be doing? What organizations could I be supporting? And then to take a step back and look at the Village Arts Factory, knowing that this is an organization that is stepping into the fold, that is charging the hill with so much support and so many good people like you behind them. Here's our chance to make a difference. Here's our chance to improve the lives of Michigan veterans.
Thank you, David. It's almost time to end this story, so let's finish up with our timeline. The goal is for the dormitory and factory to be completed by this fall, with both opening in early 2018. The goal for the warehouse renovations is to be completed by the end of 2018, opening in early 2019. We have come a long way since acquiring this property in 2012. We could not do this without you. Please continue to share our project with people that you know. We have a variety of options for people to contribute. Thank you for helping us to preserve automotive history, honor veterans, educate students, save the environment, embrace all cultures, inspire creativity, invest in Michigan economic development, and build a legacy for future generations to come. As Henry Ford once said, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. Let's do this together.